For decades, the United States has been a top global destination, drawing millions with its cities, landscapes, and promise of adventure. But as of July 22, 2025, the flow of international visitors has sharply declined. 3 million fewer tourists than projected, leaving a void across the country. This isn't just about empty hotels, it's an economic and cultural crisis, rooted in political tensions, new barriers, and a growing sense of unease among would-be travelers. To understand and address this unprecedented downturn, we must examine its causes, especially the dramatic drop in Canadian visitors, and the real-world consequences for American communities. The US-Canada border has long stood as more than just a line on a map. It's a living symbol of friendship, trust, and a deep economic partnership that has shaped both nations for generations. For decades, families, friends, and businesses have crossed this border with ease, weaving together communities and economies on both sides. In 2024 alone, over 20 million Canadians visited the United States, filling hotels, restaurants, and shopping centers, and supporting an estimated 140,000 American jobs. These visitors are not just tourists, they are a vital part of the economic lifeblood for countless border towns and cities. But in 2025, this once thriving relationship is showing signs of strain and uncertainty. The numbers are stark. Canadian visits by car have dropped a staggering 32% in March compared to the previous year, and air travel between the two countries has fallen by 13.5%. Airports that once bustled with Canadian travelers now sit eerily quiet. Border cities, especially those in Michigan and New York, have felt the brunt of this decline. In just the first quarter of the year, they've seen 1.5 million fewer Canadian visitors. The impact is immediate and visible. Lost sales for local businesses, empty tables in restaurants, shuttered storefronts, and a growing sense of economic anxiety among residents. The U.S. Travel Association warns that even a modest 10% decline in Canadian visitors could mean 2 million fewer travelers and a staggering $2.1 billion loss for the U.S. economy. For small businesses and workers in tourism-dependent towns, these numbers aren't just statistics. They represent livelihoods at risk and dreams put on hold. This is more than a tourism issue. It's a bilateral crisis that threatens the very fabric of cross-border cooperation and trust. The reasons behind this retreat are complex and deeply rooted. Political rhetoric, shifting border policies, and a growing sense of apprehension among Canadians have all contributed to the decline. Empty parking lots, cancelled flights, and grounded planes are just the most visible symptoms of deeper fears and uncertainties that now shape cross-border travel decisions. To truly understand the impact, we must look beyond the numbers and statistics. It's about the anxieties and concerns that are driving our closest neighbors to stay home, and the ripple effects that touch families, businesses, and entire communities. The stakes are high, not just for the economies of both countries, but for the future of cross-border trust, cooperation, and the shared prosperity that has defined the US-Canada relationship for generations. The sharp drop in Canadian visitors isn't about changing tastes or currency, it's about fear and uncertainty. For decades, Canadians have been among the most frequent travelers to the United States, crossing the border for shopping, vacations, and family visits. But now, a sense of unease is keeping many at home, and the reasons go far beyond economics. Political tensions like new tariffs and unpredictable rhetoric have made the U.S. seem less welcoming. Recent policy changes and heated debates have left many Canadians feeling that the border is no longer as open or friendly as it once was. Canadian media amplifies these concerns, fueling a national conversation about safety and unpredictability. News stories highlight incidents at the border and share personal accounts of travelers facing unexpected challenges, making the risks feel immediate and real. High-profile border incidents, interrogations, searches, and arbitrary denials have created a chilling effect. Stories of travelers being detained or turned away without clear reasons circulate widely, making even routine trips feel risky. Canadian institutions now issue travel advisories, and many travelers fear delays, financial loss, and humiliation. The government's warnings urge caution, and social media is filled with anxious posts about what could go wrong at the border. Travel agents report surging cancellations for U.S. destinations, with travelers citing border hassles and insurance gaps. Many Canadians are now asking about alternative destinations, and some are even canceling long-planned trips at the last minute. Many Canadians now choose Europe or the Caribbean, where they feel safer and more welcome. These destinations offer not just sun and culture but also peace of mind, something that's become increasingly important for travelers. The result, millions of travel dollars are being spent elsewhere. Canadian tourists are boosting economies abroad, while American businesses near the border feel the loss. The US must confront these fears to restore its image as a friendly, reliable neighbor. Only by rebuilding trust and making the border feel safe and welcoming again can the flow of Canadian visitors return to what it once was. The loss of Canadian tourists is hitting specific states hard, threatening local economies and jobs. Florida, a favorite for Canadian snowbirds, could lose $834 million with a 20% drop in visitors. California faces a potential $744 million loss, while Nevada could lose $280 million, and New York, over $236 million. Even Texas, with a smaller Canadian market, risks losing $80 million. These aren't just numbers, they represent lost wages, shuttered businesses, and growing instability for American families. The ripple effect is felt in empty hotels, vacant casinos, and unsold tickets. States that once relied on Canadian visitors now face tough choices and uncertain futures. The economic pain is real, immediate, and widespread. Reversing this trend is critical for the survival of countless communities. The crisis is confirmed by hard data from border crossings and airlines. In Michigan, March 2025 saw nearly a 50% drop in Canadians returning after day trips. Port Huron and Sault Ste. Marie both reported near halving of cross-border traffic. Airlines like Air Canada and Flair have slashed US-bound seat capacity by up to 25%, with no recovery in sight. Florida airports saw Canadian arrivals drop by up to 43%. These empty seats and border slowdowns mean lost revenue for hotels, airports, and local businesses. The numbers tell a clear story. A vital tourism pipeline is drying up. Without intervention, the flow of visitors may slow to a trickle. The Canadian tourism collapse is part of a larger global crisis. Escalating conflicts like the Middle East airspace closures in June 2025 have disrupted travel worldwide. Major airlines rerouted or canceled flights, creating chaos and uncertainty for travelers everywhere. Israel's airport shutdown and diplomatic closures further snarled international mobility. Political turmoil in South Korea added to global instability, affecting travel and economic confidence. These crises make travelers risk-averse, and the US, with its own tensions, struggles to appear safe and stable. The result: fewer international visitors, compounding the domestic tourism crisis. The industry faces headwinds from every direction. The US travel industry is fighting back, launching a wave of new campaigns designed to win back Canadian visitors and restore the strong cross-border ties that have long fueled tourism. After years of uncertainty and shifting travel patterns, industry leaders are coming together to address the concerns that have kept many Canadians away. Their goal is to remind travelers of the unique experiences and warm hospitality that await them just across the border. California is leading the charge with a major public relations push, highlighting its vibrant culture, breathtaking landscapes, and a spirit of inclusivity that welcomes everyone. The state is working hard to distance itself from divisive national politics, instead focusing on the personal connections and memorable moments that make a trip to California special. The message is clear and heartfelt. Our politics may be complicated, but our welcome is simple. California wants every visitor to feel valued, safe, and at home no matter where they come from. Other states are taking notice, closely watching California's approach and hoping to replicate its success. They're eager to rebuild their own bridges with Canadian travelers and are brainstorming creative ways to show that the US is open and eager for visitors. These new campaigns focus on reassurance, sharing personal stories of unforgettable trips, and targeted outreach in Canadian cities. By connecting on a personal level, they hope to ease anxieties and inspire confidence in traveling to the US again. Meanwhile, Canadian travel agents report that many clients are still hesitant, choosing destinations in Europe or the Caribbean instead of the US. They cite concerns about safety, political tensions, and the overall travel experience. The challenge is significant, overcoming both emotional fears and practical worries about border hassles, travel restrictions, and financial risks. For many, the decision to travel is about more than just a destination. It's about feeling secure and welcome. Winning back visitors is a battle for hearts and minds, fought one traveler at a time. Every positive experience, every warm welcome, and every shared story helps to rebuild trust and encourage others to return. Ultimately, success depends on restoring trust and making the U.S. feel safe, inviting, and truly welcoming again. Only then will the bridges between neighbors be fully rebuilt. Recovering lost tourists and repairing the U.S.-Canada relationship will require coordinated action. Federal leaders must shift their tone, review border policies, and communicate clearly to rebuild trust. Diplomatic engagement is essential to reaffirm the special relationship. The travel industry must go beyond ads, offering incentives, special events, and direct outreach to Canadians. Addressing practical concerns like travel insurance and fair border treatment is crucial. New initiatives like Welcome Canada Weeks can show appreciation and rebuild goodwill. Concrete actions, not just words, will determine if the U.S. can restore its reputation. The road is long, but recovery is possible with humility and effort. The 2025 tourism crisis is a wake-up call, revealing how travel is shaped by politics, perception, and global events. No market, even Canada's, can be taken for granted. The future depends on public diplomacy, a positive national brand, and a commitment to openness and stability. State-level initiatives offer hope, but national leadership is needed to repair trust. The industry must collaborate with government to anticipate and respond to global disruptions. Building resilience means better crisis planning and international cooperation. America's appeal endures, but confidence must be rebuilt. By learning from this crisis and recommitting to hospitality, the U.S. can once again open its doors to the world. The journey back will require humility, hard work, and a renewed spirit of welcome.